You have all been very regular, and I'm very happy that we are all able to discuss Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is the topmost knowledge which is not taught in any college, and this is the most essential knowledge. Last two classes we were discussing what is the true knowledge, and we went through a verse from chapter 13, and Lord Krishna listed down 20 items that what is the true knowledge, and he says everything listed in those is that true knowledge which for which this human life is given for, and anything other than that is simply ignorance. Today we'll go to the chapter called Three Modes of Material Nature. Okay, what it means is we all know what is material nature. Material nature is nothing but it's one of the energies of the Lord. Like, and Lord has three energies. One is called external energy, which is the material nature. Everything which we see here, it's Lord Krishna's energy, external energy. And then there is internal energy, which is the spiritual energy, which is, we can see the soul is part of that spiritual energy. It's fully spiritual. And everything in the spiritual world is fully spiritual. Okay. And then there is something called marginal energy, which is called Tathasth Shakti. So when the soul gets entrapped in this body, then it becomes a marginal energy. So it's not neither fully material nor fully spiritual, it's somewhere in between. So now this, how the nature controls all the living entities here is through these three modes. So most of you may have heard this three modes, like there is Sattva Guna, Rajogun, Tamogun. That is the Sanskrit terminology. Have you heard this terminology before? Sattva Guna, right? Rajoguna, Tamoguna. So Sattva Guna is mode of goodness. Then Rajoguna is Raj, mode of passion. And Tamoguna is mode of ignorance. So these three modes are prominently three modes. And whoever is there, whoever is present in this material universe are impacted by these three modes. Right? All our actions, all our behavior, our nature, our faith, our food eating habits, our donations, everything is impacted by these three modes of material nature. And the prime reason we are here still in the material world is because we are still entangled in these three modes of material nature. So Lord Krishna in this chapter will explain how these three modes of material nature works and how to get freed from these three modes of material nature. Because till the time we are bound by these three modes, we are not gonna escape. Like, we will be in this material world. And Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Lord Krishna to show a path how to get freed from these modes. Right. So just to give you an analogy, how these three modes are, like in Shastra, these three modes are compared to the chain. So if you have, I think none of us have been to a prison house, but you may have seen in the television or somewhere. In prison house, there is little freedom, right? People can roam around and all, but it can be in the boundary of the prison house. And sometimes those who are risk that they may flee, like they are also sometimes chained, like they are bound by the chains so that they can't flee. So similarly in our Shastra, this whole material creation is compared to a prison house. Okay. And these three modes of material nature are compared to those chains which the prisoners are bound with. Prisoners cannot escape until they are bound by those chains. Similarly, we cannot escape or we cannot get out of the entanglement of material nature, or in other words, we cannot get out of the entanglement of cycle of birth and death unless we transcend these three modes. We go beyond these three modes. Okay, so that is why this knowledge also known as transcendental knowledge. Transcendental means one which transcends the three modes of material nature, bypasses, surpasses. transcendental knowledge. Okay, so Lord Krishna will explain in his chapter about this transcendental, what a living entity is supposed to do to get free from this entanglement. Okay, first of all, I'll just explain these three modes. Uh, so I already told goodness, passion, ignorance, right? These are the three modes. Now, in the mode of goodness, is the it's purer than other modes, and it gives us, if the one who is in mode of goodness in Sattva, it gives a sense of happiness and also knowledge. Okay, and in the mode of Rajoguna, which is passion, a living entity has unlimited desires and longings. Like he keeps, no matter how much he has material things, how much wealth he has, he keeps asking for more, or and keeps working very hard. That is why passion is there, right? When passion is there, you want to achieve something big in the life. You want to have so many desires to fulfill one after another, and you get entangled on those fruitive actions because you are simply working to fulfill the your desires and your demands and your family's demands. So that is the mode of passion where the person works very hard to get to fulfill those needs. You may have seen big millionaires, even though they have millions of dollars, right? But they work very hard. Like some they get up early in the morning and keep working very late in the night. So that is how the mode of passion is. If they want to achieve something big, they're already there, but still passion is there to keep going. That is Rajoguna. Then Tamoguna is the mode of ignorance, which is the mode where one basically ruins his whole life. Okay, the results of this mode are like madness, ignorance, too much sleeping, too much laziness, indulging in intoxication, drinking, smoking. All these things are which are prohibited are kind of considered in the mode of ignorance. Okay, eating non-vegetarian food. This is all mode of ignorance. So this is tamoguna. Completely, it takes down one to the hell. The one who is predominantly in mode of ignorance, definitely his next destination is hell. He's heading towards the hellish planets, and he's heading towards the lower species. Lord Krishna clearly tells about in this chapter itself about uh, the destination for each of these modes. Let me share my screen and I'll pass through. Okay. So we are doing this one, chapter 14. So here Krishna says that it should be understood that all species of life are made possible by birth in this material nature. I am the seed giving father. Very important word. Krishna is saying it's me who is the seed giving father. That means he is the eternal father for every living entity, whether it's a small ant or small insects or a big millionaire human or all the way to the Brahma. Everyone, everything is coming from Lord Krishna. He says, Aham Bij Pradhapita. So he is the eternal father for everyone. Whole creation is coming from him. Okay. So that is where Krishna talks about this. This is a famous verse, Aham Bij Pradhapita. He is the seed giving father. Then it says material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, he becomes conditioned by these modes. That is what I was telling. By nature, the living entity as a spirit soul is pure. He is exactly in the quality as Supreme Lord himself, because we are part and parcel of Supreme Lord Krishna. So we have the exact same qualities. But when we come in contact with nature, those qualities are covered and we get conditioned by these three modes. We identify these three modes. And the way these three modes works is right from the time of birth, these three modes act on on everyone. And sometimes based on our previous karmas, One may identify with mode of goodness, one may identify with mode of passion, ignorance. So that becomes the nature. You say, like, sometimes you say this person is very gentle by nature. That means he's gentle by nature. That is his inherent nature. That is the nature he acquired from the mother nature. He identifies more with passion. Sometimes you say this person is too aggressive. He's very aggressive and he gets very easily annoyed. So that is mode of passion is acting. He's very passionate about doing, and sometimes we see this person is good for nothing. He's like too lazy, he's sleeping always. He's always what you call try to delay things. Something which could be done today, say okay, I'll do let's later, and then never does things. Daydreaming, keeps dreaming. So that is ignorance. So these are the three modes. Now all of us are impacted by these three modes because it's not that one will be always in goodness and one will be always in passion ignorance. So it's a mix. A living entity or humans are mix of all these three. But predominantly, what is the nature? Like predominantly, someone is more in the mode of goodness, then that's his nature. That's what he identifies with. Okay, and that's what Krishna will talk here. Lord Krishna says that the mode of goodness, being purer than others, is illuminating and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode becomes conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. So to perform any bhakti or to be acquire any knowledge or anything, one has to be in the mode of goodness predominantly. Okay. Passion, I told unlimited desires. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longing. And these desires are like a fire. The more you put ghee in the fire, more it ignites. The more you try to fulfill your material desires, the more it will ask for more and more. It will never get fulfilled, right? So that's why it's important to know what are our needs and what is wants. Like so, Krishna has given enough for everyone that he can sustain a decent life. But when we asking for more and more and more and have unlimited desires because of mode of passion, that's when a person becomes like compelled to work very hard. And this human life is not meant to work very hard. Human life is meant to inquire about the Lord, inquire about why we are here, inquire about how we can go to the spiritual world, how we can be with our eternal Father together. Right? It's not meant to work too hard. Like sometimes people, what people capitalists have given this statement: work is worship. Right? Work is there. Krishna also says everyone has to work. We cannot sit idle, but do that much work which is required to maintain your soul and body together and to maintain your family together. That's it. We don't have to keep working till the time we are dying. Like, no, human life is meant for a bigger purpose because even the animals are working day and night. Like, a donkey keeps working from morning till evening, right? Same is the case for all other animals. So we have given a spatial intellect, intelligence by Lord to understand this, to understand the purpose of life, and to act on that. And the mode of ignorance, as I told, the result of this mode are madness, indolence, sleep, and it binds the conditioned soul. So now Krishna talks about that mode of goodness gives one happiness, passion gives one conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance binds one to madness, right? And then he talks about this competition between these three modes that sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion, ignorance, and sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness, ignorance, and other times ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. So this is within us. As I was saying, we this is a competition going on between different modes. But then, whatever is the predominant mode, that's what identifies. Even our 24 hours, the day, 24 hours in a day are also divided into the three mode. Like from the time in the morning before sunrise, which we call Brahma Muhurat, right, till the sun actually comes, it's a mode of goodness. Sattva Guna is prominent. That's why those who do any work in the morning times, right, like chanting, or even for students who are studying in the morning, it's all good, because the nature itself helps you to do, because the mode of goodness is prominent. And then when the sun is out, full blazing sun out, then mode of passion becomes predominant, and then people goes out and work at their workplaces. So mode of passion is there, right? And then in the night, mode of ignorance is prominent. The tamoguna is prominent, and that's why all the bad things happens at night. All these pubs, bars, they are filled up with in the night, right? And then all the thieves and all these people, they become active at night, because that's what mode of ignorance, tamoguna, is active. So they get that extra, what you call, boost or energy, because in nature itself that is active. Okay. Then further he talks about, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, uncontrollable desire, and hankering develop. Okay. So that is the sign of mode of passion, where someone will have unlimited desires, great zeal to achieve something big in the life, materially, I'm talking about. And it's hankering, so uncontrollable hankering, then he's just bound by his hankering. Like sometimes people hanker for I don't know, something like big house or whatnot, and he's compelled to work hard in that direction. This is all mode of passion, when mode of passion is predominant. And when there is increase of ignorance, says darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. Okay. Now here is the main thing. Like when one dies in mode of goodness, when one leaves this world in mode, he attains to the pure higher planets. He goes higher in the planetary system. He remains in the material world. He is not getting escaped from the cycle of birth and death. Just that he takes birth in the higher planetary system, maybe the planet of Indraloka, demigods, or great sages, or even he can go to the Brahmaloka, where there is so much like enjoyment. There is no suffering in the terms of no diseases. Even in higher planets, there are not no diseases. People just enjoy, suffer, but it's not unlimited enjoyment. So that is what happens to the one who lives in mode of goodness. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth amongst those engaged in fruitive activities. So he takes birth amongst those who want to engage in fruitive activity, meaning like they are materialistic activity. They want fruits for their activities, labor. Like they do a hard labor, but they want fruits to be enjoyed by themselves. He takes birth among those so that he can fulfill his mode of passion. And when one dies in mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. Very clearly, Krishna says without saying anything. The one who dies in ignorance, he takes birth in animal kingdom. He's not going to get a chance again in human life. And that's why, as I was saying, anyone who is uh, eating non-vegetarian food, indulging in liquor, cigarette, all these things, these are all considered under mode of ignorance. How will they? What is their next destination? First of all, they have to go to the hellish planet to suffer the reactions of all these bad things which they did. And after that, they will be thrown into the animal kingdom or plant kingdom or the aquatics. They will take birth there, and slowly, they have to evolve. That is the destiny. Very clearly, Krishna talks about this. And so further says that result of pious action is pure and is said to be in mode of goodness, but action done in mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in mode of ignorance results in foolishness. Why foolishness? Because this human life is meant to understand all these things, and as someone who is in mode of ignorance just ruins this golden chance which was given. It's a foolishness, right? It's a waste of whole life. Like he doesn't understand that he by so just for he's taking this human life too trivially, too lightly. And this is the one chance which is given in millions of births, and he misses that chance. So that is foolishness. Right? is acting as foolish. So that's what foolishness word is used multiple times for mode of ignorance. Krishna says mode of goodness, knowledge develops, real knowledge develops. Not just superficial, real knowledge develops. Mode of passion, greed develops. The one who is in passion, greed. Because greed is the one which acts as a fuel and keeps the person in mode of passion going. More, more. So he works hard, more. Like he's not satisfied. He has a first, let's say, small house, then he wants more, then bigger house, then furthermore, the bigger, then custom big, then pension, whatnot. Like it keeps increasing, greed keeps increasing. In Bhagavad Gita, it's mentioned, as I was saying, that there is no end to the material desires. The more you try to fulfill, the more it wants more. So it's like a ghee in the butter in the fire. The more you put, the more it increases. Same is the case. And for ignorance, foolishness, madness, and illusion develops. People we used to see like who indulge in all kinds of things, nonsense things, and they become atheists. It's all ignorance. Then further it talks about those in the mode of goodness gradually go upward to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets. And those in abominable mode of ignorance goes to the hellish world. Very clearly Krishna says the destination of each of them. But the point to be noted is all these three categories still remain in the material world. Right? So which means even the mode of goodness is not good enough. Right? Because we are not still getting freed from the cycle of birth and death. We have to take birth in the higher planets. Maybe in higher planets, the lifespan is big. You may spend thousands of years there, but when the pious credit expires, then you have to come back to this earth planet again and take birth here. So it's not a permanent solution. So Krishna will talk about now permanent solution, that there is something beyond these three modes also. One, that's what we have to understand. What is it that we have to do to get freed from these three modes? Now here is it. When one properly sees that in all activities no other performer is at work than these modes of nature, and he knows the Supreme Lord who is transcendental to all these modes, he attains my spiritual nature. What Lord Krishna is saying here, that if one understands that in all activities there is no other performer, but these three modes actually impelled the living entity to act, and he understands that yes, that I am being guided by these three modes, and he looks for solution, and then he looks and he knows that there is a Supreme Lord Krishna who is beyond these three modes, who is transcendental to three modes, then he attains my spiritual nature. So here, if you see, Prabhupada writes a purport, one can transcend all these activities of mode of nature simply by understanding them properly, by learning from proper souls. The real spiritual master is Krishna, and he is imparting this knowledge to Arjuna. Right? So that is the way. So we'll further see. When the embodied being is able to transcend these three modes associated with material body, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and disease, distress, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. So that is the. So here Krishna is saying that the embodied being has to transcend these three modes. These three modes are at the material body level. He has to transcend that, and how he can do it is through the practice of bhakti, through the practice of Krishna consciousness, through the practice of bhakti yoga. That is the only way. Because any activity which we do in for the service of the Lord, or in bhakti yoga, it is not in the mode of goodness. Also, it transcends mode of goodness. So there is something called pure goodness. Pure goodness meaning Shuddh Sattva Guna, Shuddh Sattva. Anything which we do in the service of Lord Krishna, it transcends these three modes and becomes Shuddh Sattva. And Shuddh Sattva, one does not get entangled with any of the things of this material world. Right? That is why we say everything we have to connect to the Lord Krishna, because that there is no binding there. And Arjuna will inquire, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend the modes? It's a very valid question, very intelligent question, that how can we transcend these three modes, and how that person behaves, right? And how he transcends. And Krishna talks here that he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present, or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth and a stone and a piece of gold with equal eye, who is equal toward the desirable and undesirable, is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor, dishonor, who treats alike both friend and enemy, and who has resounds all material activities, such a person too is said to have transcended the modes of nature. So he's equipoised. The message here is that he equipoised in the life. For him, honor, dishonor, praise, blame, happiness, distress, all material happiness, he's not bothered about any of, because all these things are at the bodily level. So he transcends, which means he's at the spiritual level. And further, Krishna will explain that one who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So this is the thing. And I am the basis of impersonal Brahman, which is immortal, imperishable, eternal, and is the constitutional position of ultimate happiness. So he reaches to the stage of Brahman, and from there is a higher stage from Brahman. Brahman is the stage where one neither hankers nor there is no hankering, no lamenting. The nature of living entities that they hanker for things which they don't have, and they lament for things which they have lost. Right? This will keep going on. When we see someone has something big, not we, like in general, when we see people see that someone has something which they don't have, they hanker. What if we will also have this? And they keep hankering for things. And sometimes people lost something. Sometimes people loses or get some failure, or money wise also they lose. Then they keep lamenting about what they have lost. That is the sign of living entity. But one who engages in full devotional service, he transcends this. He never laments for anything, never hankers, because he knows everything. This is all at the bodily level, and whatever he gets by the mercy of the Lord in his life, anyway, he's going to engage in the service of the Lord. So he's not attached with any of the material belongings. To the extent he's not even attached to his body, the higher consciousness, he's not attached. He's always ready to, to go back to the spiritual world. Okay. So the only way where one can transcend these three modes and not become entangled is to perform the practice of Bhakti Yoga. So only by that practice one can become freed from the cycle of birth and death and get freed from these three modes. Even we'll discuss further in the chapter number 17, the divisions of faith. Even the faith is divided into three modes. Those who are in passion, ignorance, and goodness, their faiths are different. So now the question comes, can a person practice devotional service or do a bhakti if he is in the mode of passion or ignorance? What do you think? Can he practice?
Yes.
Yes? No?
Yeah. Yes. I think
Yes?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other answer?
Yeah, the person in mode of passion may can do Prabhu, but not the ignorance, not the ignorant person.
Okay. 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 So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that one has to be also in the mode of goodness to carry. So I'll tell you how it works. So a person in mode of passion and maybe in ignorance, if he gets the association of a pure devotee, can start bhakti, no problem. But to maintain that bhakti throughout his life, he has to attain to a mode of goodness. He cannot remain in mode of ignorance and passion. Otherwise, he cannot continue doing bhakti for a long time. He will leave. And I'll give you example. Sometimes ignorantly people are indulging in eating non-vegetarian food, right? So that means they are predominantly eating non-ignorance. They are in ignorance. So they are tamoguna. But it's not that we don't preach to those people. We do preach. We give them Bhagavad Gita. We give them everything. And then the person comes to his senses and see when he understands that, oh, what I am doing, like I wasted my 30 years because I did not know that this is all mode of ignorance. What I was doing, I was drinking liquor, I was eating non-vegetarian food, maybe smoking. All these things are ignorance. And then he makes an effort to leave these things. And then he tries to elevate himself to the mode of goodness. Then he also starts chanting Hare Krishna mantra and he starts taking part in the satsang. He starts meeting with like-minded devotees. So basically, he's making an effort to leave that mode of ignorance and go to the higher mode of goodness, right? Then only he can practice bhakti at a longer time. Otherwise, it's not possible. If he continue indulging in what he was doing and try to practice Krishna consciousness or bhakti, it will not happen. It will not go longer. He will go away because it doesn't work like that. Okay. So the answer is yes, it's possible to start bhakti in the mode of ignorance and passion. If one gets a good fortune and one has certain piety, certain pious credits from previous life, and one gets the mercy of a Vaishnav, possible. But to sustain that bhakti over a period of long time, one has to come to the mode of goodness. Then only one can sustain. Same is the case. You do any activity like, for example, let's say sometimes people uh, starts any activity, like for example, building a temple. Okay, so it requires even if someone is in mode of passion, he may build a temple. Okay, no problem. Like puts in money and all. But to sustain that temple over a period of long time, you need goodness to be there. You should have to be in the goodness. Okay, but yeah, so that is there. Goodness has to be there. That's why Krishna says one has to be in Satoguna to practice bhakti, which means he has to be in goodness to carry out bhakti for a long time. Not that I start today and maybe a year I do and then I go away. No, it's a basically the way of living, like molding our life in a way where we connect everything with Lord Krishna. We connect ourselves with Krishna. All our activities are Krishna. Did I tell you other day I was telling how we can even um, like all of us have to work. Some works 8 hours, some 10 hours, some 12 hours, depending on where we are. But all of us have to work, right? Those who are in the Grihastha life. How can we turn that also into bhakti? Very easy way. Like in the morning, we do our chanting and prayers and everything. But before we step out of our home, just go in front of the Lord and say that I have no capability of myself. I am I am like a puppet in your hands. Now I am going into the world of Maya. Please, please, whatever I will do, I am devoted to you. I am surrendered to you. You please take care of me. That's it. And Krishna will take care of you throughout your time which we are spending in the Maya Nagari, Jagat Nagari. Like when we step out of the home, we meet all kinds of people everywhere. And same thing, once you come back to home, take shower and pray to the Lord. Today, whatever I did, thank you so much. My day went fine. And I offer everything to you. I have no attachment. I'm just doing as a duty, as a matter of duty. So that 8 to 10 hours which you have spent at your workplace becomes bhakti. That is the message Krishna telling Arjun also, right? That you fight. You don't have to give up fight. You don't have to give up your Kshatriya dharma. You are archer. You fight. You don't have to do that, but just do it for me. That is the thing. Anyway, you have to fight. Like even if you escape from this war, you have to fight somewhere else because that is your nature. You are a Kshatriya. You have to fight. You can't stay like as a like a Brahmin. Like so, but just fight for me. So same for us. Our Kam Bhumi is a workplace. We are Gresta. We have to work, but just work for the pleasure of Krishna, and then surrender your work to Him, uh, and that becomes bhakti. And throughout in our workplace, even if you remember anything about Lord Krishna or even His name 5 to 6 times, that is good enough. Whenever you get a chance to free movement, just in the mind, just think one time of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Just chant one mantra in your mind whenever you get a free time, or just remember Krishna or remember anything which we are discussing here. Everything is absolute when we talk about Krishna. His name, form, his pastimes, his instructions, everything is absolute. Whatever we can remember gives the same benefit. That is the thing. Even if we know when we visit a temple and if we have a form of the Lord there, when we keep going again, that form comes in our mind, right? Like if we close our eyes or even like we try to take our mind, that is also remembrance. So it gives the same benefit. That is all we need to do. So our 8 to 10 hours of work also becomes bhakti. And when we come back anyway, we take prasad, honor prasad, and spend time with the family, make an effort to also make them devotee. This is all service. Like if we can make ourselves devotee and our family devotee, that is a big service to Lord Krishna. Like we are trying to bring our dependents closer to Krishna. This is a service to Him. So that is also bhakti. So then, whatever we spend on our family, whatever we spend on our house, it all becomes bhakti. That is how the life has to be molded, centered around Lord Krishna. So then our life is successful. Otherwise, everyone is working. Animals are also feeding their family. They are also taking care. Uh, If you see every animal, the Lord has given that kind of feeling attachment to all the living entities. Even a monkey, small monkey, he also takes care of baby monkey, right? So everyone takes care and they feed their children also. So we are also doing that is there, but what animals cannot do is understand is knowledge, transcendental knowledge, and do bhakti. That is can be possible only in the human form. That cannot. It is also very difficult to do this bhakti in a higher planetary system like Devi Devta. Also not possible because there too much enjoyment is there. When there is too much enjoyment, again, then bhakti is difficult to perform because your consciousness would be the consciousness of enjoyment. Okay, so that's about this chapter, modes of material nature. In this chapter, this Krishna talks about 3 modes in summary, and he gives the symptoms of people who practice each of these 3 modes and their destinations also. Someone who leaves this world in mode of goodness goes to higher planets or take birth in a rich family because he has a lot of pious credits. Right? And Krishna will reward him by material happiness in the next life for his pious credits. All the charity which we do, opening hospitals, giving donation to orphanages, giving to this is all goodness, pious credits. But the result is still material. It cannot be spiritual. Spiritual will come only when we do anything in connection with the Lord Krishna. So even the mode of goodness binds one to the material world because you are still in the material world only. Even if you go to the planet of Lord Brahma, you're still in the material world, right? So what we have to do is to acquire spiritual credits, which is basically to mold our life in a way that we can keep Krishna center in our life and keep all the activities done for his service. then our life is successful. Then we are on the right path. Then there is nothing to worry. Like, then it is the hands of Lord Krishna to take care of us. Give all your problems to him. Like, I am just there as your servant. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do as a duty. I'm not so you are basically putting your burden on, not on your shoulder, and just giving it to Krishna. And then he will take care. That is what he expects us to do. Just surrender and follow his instructions, and he takes care of our life. Put the control of our life in his hands. Whatever he wants to navigate, he will then take care. He will take control. The problem comes when we want to keep control in our hand. So that is not possible, because the moment we try to control, we are under the control of nature, Maya. The Maya will try to control us. But if we become devotee of Krishna, then Maya will not touch us, and then we are directly under the control of Krishna. Okay. Any questions on this topic before we conclude? It's all clear. So main thing is to re-emphasize whatever may do, but the main thing is to take the names of the Lord, chant the names of the Lord. Everything the Lord Krishna is telling about Bhagavad Gita instruction, but then final instruction is surrender to me. And that surrender means to do things favorable for us to progress in bhakti. And 99% bhakti or 99% devotion service in this age of Kali Yuga is chanting the holy name of the Lord. Because in the holy name, Lord has invested all his potency, all his energy there. Because he knows the people in this age are not capable of doing anything more than that. So that is the most important thing, to take the names of the Lord, chant every day. And that basically acts as a purification, and we keep getting purified of what? Purified of all this unwanted desires, of all the material conditioning which has been there in our heart for millions of births. So all that has to go out. So this process is a purification process. It purifies us, and we will feel ourselves, like after 2-3 years, you will feel a definite change in yourself, in your behavior, in your outlook. The one who is practicing bhakti, the byproducts is automatically material happiness, material satisfaction. All these things are already there. These are byproducts of performing bhakti. Even if someone has any material desires, and if he is performing bhakti, his material desires will be fulfilled. Krishna will fulfill his material desires. Right? So that is not a thing. But beyond that, there is something bigger than material desire, which is to develop the love for Lord in our heart. And once someone is able to successfully do that, that's the success of human life. That fulfills the goal of human life, purpose of human life. Otherwise, the human life becomes waste. Like, okay, so we stop here, and the next class we start another chapter 15, sorry, which is the Yoga of Supreme, where Krishna will talk about himself, his supreme abode, all these things. So we'll discuss that chapter next week, next Sunday, chapter 15. Okay, thank you so much, Hare Krishna. And I would request everyone, those who are living in Toronto and GTA, to come visit today's Milton, because here we had a big celebration today. The Ram Lala DT from Ayodhya is visiting the temple, and will be there from 3:30 to 6 o'clock. So you can come anytime in between.